Okay, it's time for some next serious steps. I just realized these little cable guides are mangled too, so I'll show you some tricks on those. Let's clean this C-tube out, then we're going to measure the head tube and fork crown and the headset I got and hope they're the same. Use a little Tap Magic cutting fluid in here. Blah, 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 blah. I got a crappy garage sailed flex hone. There's a bunch of little sandpaper balls. It's pretty worn out. Let's see if we can clean up some of this old dried grease and rust. Smelly. A little dirty. Some of this old dried grease. Some of this old sticky stuff. We'll get it out of here. We're going to look at the slot in the C-tube and make sure it isn't pinched or exploded. That looks nice and straight. I found a 27.0 seat post, a Strong. I'm not sure you guys are familiar with these vintage Strong seat posts. They pop up once in a while on some pretty cool bikes. I'm into them, man. They are really light compared to SLR the Prods and a lot of other vintagey stuff. This feels really, really loose. Let's try this scruffy 27.2 again. It feels pretty tight. There's this other 27.2, it's a little cleaner. Man, bikes and seat posts. I just have this problem all the time. It's like nothing's ever right. 27.2 is so tight. 27.0 is so loose. Like, what up, man? There's lots of grass in here. Just trying to clean up any burrs or tight spots. Let's do a little 80 grit. I want you to be 27.2. It's a little bit snug, but it fits, man. I think 27.2 is the right size. I'm telling myself that. Let's put some nice, fresh, soft grease in here to see if that changes things. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but you find out as a frame builder pretty quick that different things fit differently. Like Thompson 27.2 seat posts fit a little loose, little 27.2 seat posts fit a little tight. Just different measuring standards and manufacturing standards, different frames. So this 27.2 post actually seems tighter than the other one. Let's do the other one, man. Any help we can get, we can use. Get on there, grease. 27.0 is definitely too small. If this is a really cheap poopy bike, I'd almost say that's fine. Also, this be enough seat post. This frame's a little small for me. So I got a couple of bins of seat post binder bolts. These are used ones I've collected over the years. These are all new ones. Sometimes they're hard to find. And then sometimes you find, like Frame Builder Supply has all the Tongay ones for only $3 or $4 and all the different widths. And I think maybe Soma does too, so I went and, just bought a few of every size because you need them. Then you sort of figure out what sizes are more common and what ones you need the most, and blah, blah, blah. So, bins of binders. I usually tighten them all the way down and then hold them up. Because you need them to not bottom out on themselves. And you need them to, go all the way through. This thing's recessed on both sides. I think this little shortest one is the right one. I think that's usually the case. One side's got a little lippy dude, little keyway slot. It's usually for this non-drive side. Ugh. Oh, this does not have a keyway slot on either side. So I'm not going to put a keyway slotted binder in there. Little keyway slot. See a little slot? I'm not going to put that in here and mangle up this lug. Now, worst case, I can take this with a little hand file and file that slot off, if a need be. First, I'm going to dig through my used stuff and see if I magically just have something that's all the right things. Here's an old Simplex one. But, you know, it's weird in French. I'm not going to... We ain't going to party. Huh? Here is a short female end with no QA. Maybe this old Sagino one. I stole half an old Sagino male end. And I am guessing that it is slightly too long. So I either cut some of this down, or I can try and find one that's a little shorter. But let's put it in and try. Oh, no, that's fine. That is fine. Hella legit. Headset. I'm going to use these crappy old Harbor Freight digital calipers with a dead battery. I like them because they seem pretty accurate, honestly. Sort of have to guesstimate a little bit, but... So this is 25, 26, just over 26. I'm guessing this is 26.4, which is ISO. Not 27.0, which is JS. Means these cups should be the bigger size. And I'm 30 right on the money, not 30.2. The opposite of what we were thinking. I want 30.2. Wow, I'm getting under 30. Not helpful. Alright, headset. Let's give us some clues. Got this old Durace headset. Sealed cartridge bearings. Totally cool. A little bit of a mangled lip. I'm going to have to hit this and see if we can make it less mangled. It's a really thin aluminum crown race. So it's just warped a little bit from the tool that extracted it on both sides. It goes into a sealed cartridge bearing, so as long as I can get that a little flatter, I'm going to try and find a socket or something that fits all the way around the outside and whap it a few times against a piece of wood and hope we'll just bend this little bent lip down a little bit. It's bent in 3-4 spots actually. I'll hope. Let's measure this guy. Come on, give us some clues, buddy. It's just over 26. Hopefully. This is just over 30. It's right on 30. Very confused. Oh, no, it fits. So it presses in just a little bit, like halfway. It's probably the right size. This will probably all work out. A handy dandy block of wood, handy dandy headset dude, and I'm going to go see if I can find a socket or a pipe or tool. Some kind of some sort. Nope. This is the Park Fort Crown installer, and it is too small, it's like right in the bearing area. Ha ha ha! Mr. Stein wouldn't like that much. Maybe it'll work. Okay, I found some options. I got this, I checked on my sockets. My biggest one's a 27mm, wasn't big enough. I got the J. Stein Crown Race polling tool, and it looks like it would be big enough to hit it and flatten it. And I've also got the Park headset installing tool, the Crown Race installing tool, and some of these dudes look big enough, but they're aluminum, they're really soft. I always end up mangling those as much as you do doing whatever you want. So I'm going to try hitting it with this Stein tool first. Set it on there. I've just accidentally pressed it in. It's gotten a lot flatter, it's still got some high spots. Oops. Ugh. Really done it now. I mean, it worked pretty well. It worked so well that it kind of like pressed it on. Oh, there it goes. Kind of seems like it's the right size. Let's find out. Well, I found a Crown Race tool. It looks like it sits pretty nice and flush in the flat spot, not touching anything serious. I got a chunk of foam mat I got from, Goodwill or whatever. This Park headset tool. That's what you want. It usually takes a few whacks, and the tone will change. It means it's on. It's not perfectly on. Still not perfectly on. Still not on. The back is sticking up just like a fingernail hair's worth. Get dull. There we go. Now it's all the way on. I angled it a little bit. So we want it on and we want it flat. Old bikes, man. Now it's time for the exciting stuff. The bareliest of smears. Derailleur cups. Put them on the right side up. Logo facing forward. This one's got a little wear mark. Put the logo facing forward. Now sometimes you line your logos up. Then you gotta press them in, they move a little bit. I think some guys press theirs in one at a time too. I've never done that. I've never used this press tool. I should do that. Who knows? So I went on eBay months ago and bought the cheapest bearing press tool. It's definitely not for headsets. Let's try it out. I have not used it yet. It's very exciting. It's got a handle and some threads. It's got a piece of all thread and a wrench. So normally headset press tools, you sort of lock them in by friction and you turn this handle to tighten them. I think on this one I might have to turn this bolt. We'll find out. It's got some funny staggered cups with a bunch of different sizes. And are any of the sizes the right size for this? Got it? Kind of seems legit. Alright. It's got a 3-piece bearing, so it doesn't bind up and go all the threads. It's like 2 races and a bearing, very weird, not sealed. That was fun. I think it's not long enough for doubles. So I'm gonna do them one at a time. Put this one down here to keep her even. Make sure it doesn't deform or mangle anything, something to press against. It's gonna turn, except for that little guy spinning. Comes with a very crappy little 17mm wrench. And hell yeah, it's pressing real nice and smooth and even. Huh? Looks like it's wandering a little bit. I don't want to deform the aluminum cup or any of the parts. I want to make sure it's pressed all the way in. So I'm just going to squeeze a little teeny bit extra. I've seen guys try and be sure, so they put all their muscle into a big headset press, and I've seen them actually crush the head tube. So, you know, squeeze it in and don't E-man it. Make sure there's no gap all the way around. Can't get a fingernail in. Can't see daylight. This side feels better than this side. A little bit. This worked better than I thought. It's not very long. It's just a piece of all thread and a threaded rod. You could probably figure out what the thread pitch is and size is and order a longer rod if you really wanted to. Alright, Zitto. Good job, bud. Will it be tall enough from here? Yeah, just barely. That'll be fine. Everything looks even, looks pretty straight. No fingernail gap. Most likely no daylight. Most likely fine. Alright, that was $35 well spent. Wipe off any of this excess grease, really get a good daylight check going. Beautiful. So Dura-Ice. This is Dura-Ice in the front and back, so you can really put on the sides if you want to read it from the side. For some reason I always put them logos forward. I don't know why. It's probably meant to be from the side. Oh. Alright, what we got here is the sealed cartridge bearing on the top. And a sealed cartridge bearing that must go on the bottom. Got a huge gap before we see that wavy ass lip. I mean, that wavy ass lip didn't matter at all. Maybe I got the bearings upside down. I don't know. Assuming the bearings will be the same top and bottom, but I could be wrong. I'm sure it look the same. Let's grease these threads before we start. Just holding the top nut, spin the whole fork because it's easier and more fun. I don't know if that's going to touch or rub or anything. I'll have to tighten it down and adjust it and see. Single lock nut. And looks like that's just the right amount of threads for this top nut. Maybe one or two too many. Most like we'll need a spacer. Most like. Yeah, we're basically bottomed out. I need a little spacer. And who knows what's going to crush or pinch that at all. Giant headset spacer kit. It's a lot of new stuff and this started getting real hard to find 1 inch, and a lot of old stuff I save off bikes because it's real hard to find 1 inch. That is too thick. I want to have some threads left. It's the thinnest I got in black, so we're going to go a couple of sizes down in silver. Just buy a couple of mils. Grease on this guy. It is real tight. I wonder if it's rubbing those high spots. It's a headset. It barely goes anywhere. It's probably fine. Oh. It's probably fine. Probably, maybe. For a crusty old Vector Race headset, it's probably fine. Alright, man. C-post headset in. Guess that means we can start lay build. Should really overhaul that back hub and put the cassette on. Like, whatever. Let's start with other stuff. Do the stem and the bars and have those be right in the way. Probably start with a little bottom bracket. I think most of this old Shimano Road Double stuff uses a 116. I think I have a couple of used Derailleur bottom brackets. I'll probably just use a Shimano 116 sealed cartridge because why wouldn't you? Alright, I found a brand new 113 cheapo bottom bracket. Put it in and hopefully it's the right thing. Kind of measure off the center line of this frame. Roughly 47. That is more than I want for a 1x by a lot. By a lot! I might have to move that ring to the inner. Maybe I can get a narrower bottom bracket in here, 2 or 3 millimeters. 113, you too wide. And be too narrow for that ring on the inside. Alright, I gotta find something narrower. Something less jut, less standoff from the drive side cup. Annoying. Okay. Sometimes that's the game you play, mixing and matching stuff. Tried to put this 8-speed cassette on this wheel and it had all kinds of play. I found a thick spacer, like 2 or 3 millimeters, and it was too thick. So luckily I found this one thin bottom bracket spacer. Maybe it'll be just enough. Maybe. If not, we'll be taking a trip to the bike shop or using a real Shimano cassette so to mess with things being totally ridiculously out of tolerance. I probably just made like the 11-speed cassette. It's probably just made to use a 11-speed cassette spacer. But this is 8-speed, bro. Hopefully it still shifts. Hey, alright, no play with that pushed all the way down. I think that's what it needed. Zitto. Zit annoying. I like to do all this kind of stuff on a workbench. My belly pushing it down against the bench makes it easier, but I don't really have one. Definitely don't have one not in the way of the camera. Why? Why don't you just start, bud? The only reason why I bought you is because, well, you're on clearance for like $8. But also because you have this red alloy fucking thing. Yeah, little spacer totally did it. Get on. Tight. Now here's a step most people skip. If I do it on every bike, especially bikes that I realign the dropout. I'm using this dropout alignment gauge, and you can get these pretty cheap on eBay now. This is the nice Abbey Tools, made here in Oregon, in Bend, I think, mountain bike race guy tool. I think a bunch of Chinese companies are ripping this off for 20 or 30 bucks. Bolts in the derailleur hanger aligner. It's perfectly straight. It's got a rod. Comes over and touches your wheel. Touch on the top. Touch on the bottom. So this is it. It's too tight on the bottom. Too tight on the side. Too tight on the side. Set it to the side. Little room up here. A lot of room up there. Touches right here. There's too much room here and here. So I might give this guy just a little push in. Still some room on the top, still some room down there. Now there's a little room down here, and a little room down there, so it's real close. I'll reset it up here so it's touching. A little tight, touching. I'm going to reset it down here at the tightest spot. Barely touching, barely touching. Little teeny bit of room, little teeny bit of room. So it's like just hovering like a millimeter, barely touching. I'd rather have it be like within a millimeter of tolerance than bend this thing 5 more times. Now I know that derailleur hanger alignment, now I know this derailleur hanger is straight. All that work for all the reds that are ringing, you can't even see it. Should have spent a whole bunch of money on some fancy SRAM cassette. A big red alloy spider. I looked, I think I could find big red alloy spiders in like 9 speed and 10 speed, but not 8, bro. Not 8, bro. Let's hang this rear derailleur. So the rear derailleur's cray-cray because it is like immaculate. I had another one, this little beater, but it was 2 beater, it was all bent. This thing is too nice for this build. Oh. I had nicer cranks too and I sold them. Trying to keep myself from going too nice. No, I wish I kind of would have kept them. I got the nicer seat post. Got nicer. I'm going to come through and try and find some red nail polish or something somewhere used in a bin, or a red paint pen. I'm going to kind of come through here and add a little red paint to this Durace logo, I think. That'll be a hot move. Wow, this is machined really poorly. But I've used a few of these. I've never had one that didn't work before. It is not going to work. It is machined wrong. Dang, dude. Dang, man. Sadness. Here's an old silver one I saved from my old bike shop. It's got a little sticky hangy tag I used to use there. A little handwritten price on it is $16. I was buying them for like $5 off of eBay. Why not mark them up to $16? It's basically how retail works. Let's see if this old VG Sport one is machined way better. Oh, I don't know. It looks too low too. Maybe it's this dropout's cray-cray. Put a damper on all of my fun. Yeah, not a chance. Okay. Hi, Dropout. I see you. Big fat lip down here. Could come in here and grind a little bit of this off. It's always something, bikes. I just need, like, seriously a couple of more millimeters down here. I gotta do it. I gotta grind on this frame. Normally in a situation like this, I say grind on the part, but this part's not machined in such a way that that's doable. And modifying the frame so it'll fit all new parts. If every part doesn't fit right, I'm not going to modify every part for this frame for the rest of its life. I'm going to modify this frame. This dropout's just extra thick. We just got to take a couple of mils off. I don't want to get down here with a real grinder. Do the hand file, that's going to suck down here. I should get a real grinder out and shoot sparks all over here. Start a fire in my basement carpet. File is going to take forever. I don't care. I'm going to hand file it. OMG, you guys. OMG. Alright, I'm going to kind of pop this thing apart a little bit and see if I can fit it in the closet with my vise. See if I can get this thing clamped down and take a couple of millimeters off this and get that derailleur dangler to bolt on. But before I do that, I found this tool. I picked this up recently, you know, at the Sunday salvage sales, I think, or swap meet or something. It is the Park chain line gauge. So you see you can get your chain ring in this hole here, and then this dude sticks out there and touches your cassette, and you can see if your chain line's good, which is pretty cool. So I figure we'll play with this a little teeny bit. It's gonna kind of bolt it on, push it back, and it's really right in line with 1, 2, 3 with the 4th cog out of 8. So I mean, this is saying my chain line's pretty fine. I'm really right in the middle. Thought I was going to put a smaller bottom bracket in. I still might. Really, I'm old, and it's a 39 in the front, which is kind of huge for my old manness. And I'm probably only going to use the top 3 or 4 gears all the time. I'll probably never use the bottom 2. I'm like the opposite of like every customer ever who only rides in the hardest gear at all times, trying to blow their knees out. I don't know if you've ever worked on just old cheapo bikes people bring into the shop as the chain's skipping, and you realize that they've just completely destroyed the smallest cog and all the rest of them because they've never had a chain on them. People don't even know how to shift and don't even care. You try to explain to them. Like, I used to tell people that if you shift, you not only will do things you don't care about, like saving your knees and not blowing out your knees and not hurting yourself and not physically exhausting you and making you insanely tired on every bike ride really quick. It'll do things you actually do care about, like save money, because you're spreading the wear over the chain. It's going to last 10 times as long. Like spreading the wear over all the rings instead of just destroying the little one. I have that conversation with people all the time to try and get them to actually learn how to shift. I take them out in the parking lot, which is really like a driveway for the community college next to us, and ride bikes with them and show them how to shift and make them practice a couple times. And most of them would always just stop anyways and forget. But some of them actually start shifting, and it was great. So maybe this is alright. I might try and ride it for a while first. You can always come back and put a 107 bottom bracket in later. But yeah, I'm going to pop this dude, these wheels off, and see if I can set this up in my vise to grind and file. I have an extra home repair stand. I don't know if it's here or at my friend Lindsay's. I was kind of thinking about taking one of those little park arms. I have like a little bench mount park stand. See if I can mount that on a piece of 2x6 or something, and then mount a piece of 2x6 off of it. Should just weld something up, but it's raining, so I'm not gonna. And see if I can mount it in like the stake bed pocket on my truck, so I can use my truck as a bike stand. Because I could flip this upside down, go out there with the grinder, and grind on outside. I don't worry about sparks and stuff. But I don't like power tools. I don't like getting metal sparks all over me. So might do it the old-fashioned way with a big bastard file. That's only a couple of millimeters. It'll take 30 or 50 swipes. It'll take 5 or 10 minutes. Be kind of loud and annoying. So I didn't save a lot when I closed the shop because part of me really thought I'd never work on bikes again, or maybe just on my own stuff a little bit. I saved this one big box full of tubing blocks and some braze-on jigs. Not really a lot of stuff. So this is one of my favorite things. Some old frame builder used to make these tubing blocks, and then when he retired, some other guy started making them every once in a while, and they put them up on the frame builder's list for like $80 for a whole set. This one's kind of cool because it's kind of 2 ovals, a little smaller one, a little bigger one, really for holding chain stays and stuff. And this one's curved, so you can get it in your vise, and you know, it'll sort of clamp to the tube as they taper. I'm gonna see if I can use it in this tiny little area. This really might work. Maybe. I gotta be careful. This bike's leaning up against the vise or touching anything, and I really clamp it down on this vise, I might and bend the frame, which I do not want to do. So I want to clamp it down on the tube where it's not going to mangle it, and where nothing's touching too hard, where it's going to bend and mangle. Not so bad. I brought this little dude in so I can hold it up and get an idea when I'm there, and I really need it to come down just like a couple of mils. This guy's just gotta make some room. It's just gotta. Big old $10 Harbor Freight bastard file will destroy this paint. Make sure it works. There's kind of a big casting edge on there. Taking that off might have got me halfway there. And no, it doesn't look like I've done anything. Whoa. Still looks like I've done nothing. Nothing. Still looks like I've done nothing. I get a clue. Yeah, I'm filing back here and it's like not touching there. It's only touching on the tip. I really only need to focus on shortening this lip a little bit. You know what? I'm going to grab the bolt and see if that'll bolt in or not. Might be there. Okay, bolt goes right in nice and smooth. Just doing a little test fit. I think. Sure looks good to me. Now, should probably find a paint pen or some old nail polish and put it on that bare metal so it doesn't get all rusty. But it's also a real thick cast part. It's not a thin tube. It doesn't matter if it gets a little rusty. I'll probably just rub it with some grease. Not care at all. Honestly. Hey, look at that. Greased up. Hidden out of the way. Seems a little weird, but it doesn't seem to mind. So that only took, 3-4 minutes. Totally easy peasy, completely worth doing. All right. It's getting a little banging. A little banging. I guess set up the chain. Maybe I should put the bar stem and shifter on first. Set up the chain and the derailleurs. Okay. So I decided to go with this ridiculous bar. I'm going to take this 80 grit and just cross hatch a little bit on just this clamp area. It's like a checkerboard, file in one direction and then the other. We're just trying to give it some tooth and some grit. You might leave the aluminum sanded bit and sand stuff on there as a little bit of almost like a carbon fiber paste, just like a little texture. Try not to go outside the bar area. You can always tape this off so you don't scratch any visible area. But I'm not really doing that. Probably should. Same thing. Oh, I already did. Good for me. Same thing for these 26.0 shims. I sanded them. I had a different bar in here. I had like a Simworks kind of risery bar in here, but man, that stuff's heavy. I'd have a generic aluminum superized than fancy name brand heavy. Jam. It's kind of in there about where I think I'm gonna want them. Then we gotta remember what bolt comes in here for this guy. Doesn't seem right. Stupid hidden bolt stem is sexy and cool, but it's going to be a pain in the ass to adjust. Maybe this came with a special tool in the box for this, but I'm just kind of going my own way. Getting a little leverage-o. It's putting a wrench on a wrench to use leverage. Hopefully the stem's 26.0 to 25.4 and not 26.4. But the way the clamp is and stuff, it might not slip. It's gonna slip. Whatever, I have to do it. It's cool. It's obnoxious. I think I was trying to turn this so I get it farther out so that the shifter is always out here. Because we're in 8, well, 7, 6. So it's always going to be hitting my fingers. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, that is so obnoxious. I think there's just no way of turning this dude to have it sit where you want. I think that was the problem I was having. So I'm probably just going to have to live with it. It will probably always be in the easiest gear. Or 2 or 3. We'll just have to live with it. Or maybe I'll play with it some more, but I feel like I played with it a lot. It's just a jerk. I do have those Paul Thummy mounts too. I only have one pair of them and I used the other one on something and I can't find them again. Whatevs, whatevs, whatevs. Oh, brake levers. What brake levers am I going to use on this? I think I know. They're not cool, but they'll match the brakes. I mean, maybe if I had some cool XT ones or something. Derailleur's never made a flat bar lever. But I got these Tactros. Basically brand new. A little scuffy for someone installing them. Silver, and they're neo-retro-y. And I've used them on a lot of builds for other people. They do make a lot of leverage. They're pretty stoppy, which is nice. Roughly setting this stuff up. We'll adjust it when it's on the ground and we'll play with it later. Just put the bar and plug in too. Cheese, cheese-tastic. Red, 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 so much red. You guys ever seen so much red? I've always thought color builds were too cheesy to do, but I've always also really wanted to do one. Like, so cool until the first time I lean it against something or the bike falls over. It's got the under cable guide. So I can either have this thummy make a real tight, kind of horrible radius onto this side and down, which will make this side cleaner. I usually do crisscross applesauce and have it come around to the other side and have a crisscross applesauce again down here. Maybe I'll do this side. I wonder if I have the actual Dura-Ace adapter dude, that'd be kind of dope. This is the Dura-Ace specific like down tube cable guide. I never use them, it's weird. It's never a barrel adjuster, it's like this twist shift dude for rapid indexing or shifting or rapid tightening up your tension or whatever, bro. This thing has a barrel adjuster here and down here. I'll probably just set this up and never use it. So it's really just there as a cable stop. Oh no, never mind. This guy's totally flat for like a carbon bike or aluminum bike and not half round at all. So I just grabbed a regular one of these with a barrel adjuster and the half round. A lot of mechanics hate these. They'll tell you they don't work, they'll tell you they freeze. I've never had that problem, and I think I figured out what it was, is mechanics tighten these guys all the way down. The second you get them tight, then they like to freeze. So don't, like have a barrel adjuster, bring it out like a turn. That way you have a little bit to go in case you set your stuff up too tight. You got lots to go out still. And, don't make them freeze or over tighten or whatever it is people do. Oh yeah! Gosh, this back wheel got to go back in. God, I hope these 11-tooth pulleys work. Guess we need an 8-speed chain. God, I hope I have one of those. There's a lot of projects I'll probably use the chain I was intending on using on this. Something else. Woohoo, I found a generic SRAM PC850. Just a Normal 8-speed chain, nothing fancy. Found a bag of little red alloy bolts I bought for. I'll use for the water bottle boss bolts for sure. I think they're just aluminum. If I can find some stainless ones in red, I might order them. I might cut these down and use them if I just use a light mount or something on the back. Some stainless ones would be better if I ever do fenders or a rack, or which I never do. But and if I do the front basket on the front, I haven't even showed you guys that yet, have I? Let me show you. I did get this polished stainless Velo orange front rack with a little gate. This might be extremely dope on here. I just barely clear the brake and stuff. If I do this, I won't be using a handlebar bag. But it'd be more fun than a basket, even though baskets are way more functional and awesome than racks. They're lighter, they're sturdier, you know, they're way more functional with the basket, and you'll get cargo nets on them easier. I guess I could always turn that Louis Vuitton purse into like a little saddle bag. That'd be hilarious. Throw some generic tools in a tube in. So this might go on, maybe. We'll see. A little handlebar bag could be cool. Guess I should shut up the chain and then we'll try this shifter. The chain and the shifter are a whole debacle of their own. This video is really long, so I'm just going to skip ahead. I'm going to stop here and I'll show you all that in part 3. So thanks for watching.